Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the City Council work session of Tuesday, July 16th, and call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So first we will have public comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make public comment? Remember to give your name and mailing address. Keep it under 3 minutes and kind and respectful, please.
I'm Beth Holland. I'm PO Box 132, Cannon Beach, 97110. And I have what I think is very good news about our property quest to put this all together. NCLC is asking that the city formally request that they participate in taking the funds and holding the title to the property and as an escrow. And this is something we've been hoping that they would do for a long time. And it's something we're very comfortable with because they're such a respected organization. And this is a very hopefully good thing. So John Wickersham yesterday in a conversation with him said that the city put together a formal request that they do this, that they take on the fiduciary role. And that would give.
At North Coast Land Conservancy.
Yes, North Coast Land Conservancy. So that's what I'm here tonight to ask that the city do that we request their assistance in this transition or transaction. And with this in place, the family trust is capable of starting to raise funds. We can't do this until we have this fiduciary, and I'm very happy if North Coast Land Conservancy will take the role.
And they want that as an assurance that the city's on board to take it, to take the land.
Yeah, and I think it's just a formality, but it's something that John has talked for very long time about. It would be either the state or the city that would have to request NCLC to do this. And now that it's come to the city to be the recipient of the land, this is the time for this.
Great. That's really good news.
So
Did one back in November of
Right.
2023. So I'll email that to John and ask him if he needs any changes to that.
Okay.
So we can include anything else that's needed. Because we did ask that back in 2023.
Yes.
So we'll just say, hey, what additional information do you need in this letter? And then we had the mayor sign it last time and then I can coordinate and get it with you.
okay, you want to send that to all of us?
Yes.
Also, okay.
Thank you,
Great.
Jen. That'd be
Okay.
good.
Any questions?
Anybody have a question?
Nothing?
Okay,
So great, thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Beth.
That's great.
Thank you all. Thank you.
You don't want to stick around?
Love to.
Okay, anyone else in the audience? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to make public comment? Do you know who the iPhone is?
Idea.
Okay, so we will go ahead and close the public comment and start with our first discussion item, which is a scope of review determination for the design review board decision. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? We're doing a scope of review. Unfortunately, at their June 20th meeting, the design review board denied the city's request for the temporary city hall and police station at the eastern terminus of East Second Street. And so CETA, on behalf of the city, requested a review of the decision and an appeal of that decision. And so tonight, the council is doing a scope hearing. And the applicant has requested that the matter be reviewed on the record, and staff is recommending that as well.
Anybody have any questions?
It seems pretty, I would say that from the information you gave us, it's pretty clear cut. There's really no other information I don't think we need in order to make a decision using the existing ordinance.
I don't believe so. I believe we have about as complete of an application as we can get for that site. And I think that on the record is fine and that there's enough information for us to make a decision.
Okay.
And their findings of fact were not a part of this packet.
No, they weren't, but they would be when it's brought back to the council during the time of the actual appeal hearing.
Okay. Is it appropriate to ask what their issues were?
Sure. The issue was the use of the parking area and the fact that for that 18-month period, that approximately anywhere from 35 to maybe 50 spaces that are available today may not be available during that 18-month period.
Is that supported by any code that,
We can talk more about that, but it was staff's interpretation that the proposed amount of parking that was provided for the employees and for the size of the structures and things like that met the requirements of the zoning ordinance.
Didn't they
On the
want
record.
a review or
Yeah.
a study of the parking?
I don't, there was no, there was some general discussion. There was nothing asking for a formal like study or anything like that. It was more just that it's available now and that those spaces are going to push traffic elsewhere. And I can get into this at the meeting, but I think it was a pretty well thought out application in terms of trying to provide the citizens with the service with the least amount of impact, still easily accessible by everyone. But we are going to use some of that parking lot for it. And we looked at numerous sites. And again, this seemed the most out of the way. The buildings blended in with a lot of the recycle center and the uses of the wastewater plant. And we thought that it provided, like I said, the citizens and the people who needed to do business, easy accessibility, yet with the structures that we're talking about are kind of out of the way.
and those were also their concerns?
Their concerns were parking, period.
Yeah, that was it.
The site plan and the landscaping aspects of the three criteria were approved. The only one that was appealed or denied was the site plan, and that was due to the parking.
So everybody, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So if you recall the last land use vision that we had, we had it on the record, and then it became apparent to us that it would have been possibly better to have it to know as we were having a discussion. You may not all agree with that.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying that there were some things that were introduced, not able to accept because we'd already agreed to have hearing on the record.
In that case, the appellant requested de novo hearing. In this case, the appellant is asking for it to be on the record. So that's one difference.
I'm just bringing this up as a reference.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say that otherwise.
And I think the two cases are completely different.
Can you think of anything that could be added to the record that might change this?
No, I can only think of an instance where something gets brought up that we may feel is advantageous to us and not be able to use it. And I don't think that's a particularly strong argument for changing the decision. I just wanted to point it out.
Okay. I'm going to support the on the record review.
I am too.
Bless you.
Me too.
Nancy, how are you?
I support the on the record.
And I will as well.
Okay, so on the record,
August 6th.
on August 6th. You're done. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Steve.
You don't want to stick around? Nobody wants.
enjoy the visual. I got good faith in you guys.
I'm glad somebody does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so next
Asking
we
lost
have
those.
the Cannon Beach Elementary School update. Bruce?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. We have Dustin Johnson on the line right now, ready to do a presentation regarding the work with the Clatsop Nehalem tribe and the construction plan set and finishes.
Good evening, Dustin.
Good evening. Thank you all. And good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, Bruce, Rusty, and Jen. Kind of envious of Leslie that she's there tonight and I'm not, but we'll do this from home. I don't have any graphics to present tonight. What I have is just a quick update on where we're at with the project. So we have submitted for building permit our final construction documents. My understanding is we are holding off on plan review at this time, but those documents are sitting there ready for review. In the meantime, we have, let's see here, 10 heritage items that don't affect the building permit at all, but they are in need of additional development. Some of those are design elements, some of them are not design, but more in the realm of interpretive signage. What we've done is we've set up a bi-weekly meeting with the tribe. We had our second meeting today, specifically regarding these 10 items. And the point of that meeting was to establish these 10 items that need to be further developed, and who is championing those items and what resources are needed, what are the costs associated with it, so we can continue to track that. My goal is to have more definitive design on those design elements that do need to be further developed, and to come to you with graphics prepared next month. Specifically, these items include things like the carved entry wood doors. What does that design actually look like? That carved design, are they carved wood entry doors, or is there some glass in there as well? The welcome woman, we've been showing a very generic image for that. Now it's time for the tribe to take that to their artists on their side and to come forth with the design that they wish to see procured for this site. The floor map in the heritage lobby, and I'll run through these just real quick. We've been showing a floor map. What we need from the tribe is just to make sure that we have the extents of the map correct. Beyond that, it's really just identifying those points of interest that we're going to add with those little blue indicators in the floor, and then associated interpretive signage. Gym acoustical wall panel design, those are the end walls, not the ceilings. So this is where we had the black and red rhombus sort of scattered basket weave design. The tribe did see that, and they wanted us to develop it further with some feedback provided by them. So we're actually getting really close on that particular item to be able to share some imagery with you all. The Longhouse inspired pavilion out by the Story Circle. We ran through about 12 or 15 different schemes today with the tribe. We zeroed in on one. We're going to take that and further develop that into multiple schemes and continue to narrow that down. And again, with the objective of being able to show you where we landed or where we are trending towards in a meeting with you all next month, yet to be scheduled. Interpretive signage. We are looking at potentially, and this is in the works, but we are through the tribe reaching out to the Parks Division to see if they might be able to help with some of that interpretive signage. Dick Bash, who you all know very well, was formerly employed with the Park Service, and he reached out directly to his previous employer there, his direct manager, and we're hoping to have some idea if they're able to get involved and provide some of these interpretive signage services at a discount or perhaps no cost, but we'll have some more information on that the next time we meet with you. And the last four items quickly, the heritage play area. What appurtenances do we need out there besides just some of the natural elements like rock and driftwood that we had talked about? One specific item we're looking into is a carved, whether it's a carved canoe or an interpretation of a carved canoe out of cement or concrete. Looking at getting that priced. The Southeast Plaza wall and bench design, really what we're looking at here is, are we getting the right type of rock, the right coursing or pattern of that rock, as well as the type of wood that we are using for the bench. We had proposed an ipe. That wood is a rainforest wood, and one item that came out of the meeting today with the tribe is we'd like to find something more local, more sustainable, may require a little bit more upkeep, even replacement in, decades time, but something, obviously sustainability is very important to the project team. So we'll continue to develop that. Last two items, the basket lights and the heritage lobby, what specific designs do those look like? They will be based off of imagery provided by the tribe and probably interpreted from there into some sort of a grid format. And then the heritage lobby imagery, these are the images of the ancestral Clatsop Nehalem villagers and their way of life. That'll get posted up on that west side of the heritage lobby on glass, and then again, being able to see the curvature of the barrel vault roof beyond. So those are the items we're working with the tribe directly on, again, on a bi-weekly basis, with some communication in between those meetings. And we'll work with Jen to get on the schedule next month with City Council and provide a better update for you with visuals, so you can see how we're coming along in those items. And again, I do want to iterate one last time, these are not things that affect the building permit at all. These are more finishes, FF&E items. They do not affect plan review at all, should we choose to start that review process. And I'm happy to answer any questions any of you all have at this time.
Are you getting good tribe representation at the meetings?
We are, we've specifically, and we left this up to the tribe as to, who they wanted to have attend and how many. Dick is basically taking, Dick and Dee and Roberta are taking the bulk of the representation at this time. And it certainly helps with the duration of the meetings. They're able to take information from those meetings and go back to tribal council. And they have a couple of times thus far gone to their Saturday tribal meetings and come forth to these design meetings with input from the tribal elders, which has been extremely helpful.
Good, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you, Dustin.
All right,
Stay-
thank you all, and I'll be
Cool.
happy. Looking forward to meeting with you next week, next month, sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have Cannon Beach City Hall and Police Station construction drawing sets. Oh, no.
Yeah.
We have Leslie Jones from CETA. Talk about the construction set.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for having us. And we have a lot of information here before us this evening. So I guess my first question and overview, we have the construction sets for both the proposed city hall and police station in the packet. They are a lot of drawings, a lot of sheets. I am more than happy to flip one if that is how we want to proceed, or jump in and answer any questions if you've had the opportunity to review them independently.
I personally would rather just have you answer questions rather than go through all the engineering drawings. I mean, to tell you the truth, I am not a construction person. I mean, I've never, built a house I have helped with, but not at this level. So I really have very little that I cannot ask an intelligent question. I think about the drawings themselves. We have a guy here who builds, and so he may have intelligent question, but.
I agree with you, Lisa.
Yeah, so.
You have any highlights? Point out the cliff notes?
Yeah.
I would say I believe that these drawings shouldn't present any surprises to things that we've reviewed previously at other meetings. They really should reflect decisions we've made before, and it's just a different way of illustrating them in more detail. But I wouldn't expect any changes here or surprises.
My one question, Leslie, is there anything that you need to get any more information from us on, even though you already have these? Or are you just looking feedback from us?
So I don't believe there's anything I need in terms of information for the building design. I think we've made those decisions, and then decisions have, detailed decisions have been continued to be made by coordination with consultants, sustainability, our envelope consultants, those sort of things that go into the details. The second part of what we have this evening is the updated pricing package to present. And so that's the reason these drawings are here as a milestone moment in the process.
These back up the pricing thing.
Yes.
Right.
Right. I'm certainly more interested in that than going over the.
Me too.
documents with
Yeah.
fine-tooth comb.
Everybody okay with that approach? Okay, let's do that.
You can.
So I will begin by just a high-level overview of how we organized numbers. And of course, at any point, we're both here to answer questions. So this first slide is an overall comparison of both buildings. Encompasses the whole project, both the city hall and the police station. What you see on the left half are previous estimates. I can zoom in a little bit more. So on the left are previous estimates that have been presented at other times. That first column, SD, that's the schematic design estimate. So that's the first time we had substantial drawings to price. The column next to that is the design development drawings. These again had more drawings with a little bit more detail. Another pricing round to make sure that we were on track. And then what you see on the right is our current estimate based on those drawings that you have in your packet. So the construction document estimate. And we included these all just so you could see, if you look across the page, a comparison of about where we are and where we've been trending.
And this has a June 30th, or I mean, it says June 2024 on the top. You know what the date was?
So
June 24th.
June 24th, okay. 24, June 24, 24.
24.
So what you see in the top in the darker green, those are the construction costs. We refer to those as the hard costs. And those are the costs to build the building. So materials and labor. There's also a few other things in here. You'll see the pre-construction costs for the CMGC and an allowance for inflation. Below that are the soft costs. So these are the additional project costs that are outside of those hard building construction costs. They include the professional fees. That's so the AE, the architects and engineers fees. The column for schematic design there, you'll see is missing numbers. That's because at that very early stage, we were using a percentage as we developed more detail. Other soft costs include some of the services directly contracted through the owner, things like the survey and the geotech report. This also includes hazardous materials, traffic impact analysis. The other things in here, there is an owner contingency. We'll talk about that number a little bit more before we're done. Also, furniture, fixtures, equipment is here, low voltage, IT, and the insurance for builder's risk. Those are things included in the owner's fees. So the very bottom here is the grand total. We refer to that as the base budget. So we are where we anticipated to be about. Our overall total for both has come down a little bit from the design development. It was up a little bit in design development over schematic design, but it is trending about where we expected it to be. So later, when we look at more specifics and look at the contingencies that we're carrying, we're on track for where we anticipated.
That's certainly good news.
Yeah.
The next slide here, it's organized in a similar way, so you can see the schematic design and design development on the left of, but this is just for the City Hall building. And what you'll see here is overall the numbers have come down. The soft costs have also come down some. So if I scroll down here to the bottom, this one has trended down at each step of development. The next slide we have here, this is for the police station alone. This one has trended up as we've added more details to the plans. It's like the overall costs have trended incrementally up as we develop detail. That is primarily due to the construction costs, the hard costs. The soft costs are haven't seen that same variation. But when we scroll down to the overall budget, we are a little bit more than we were at design development. Again, when you look at both projects together, we're trending where we expect. This last slide here is to clarify a few things. This is similar to what we talked about at design development. There are a few different kinds of project contingencies included in this budget. So the first thing here is the design and estimating contingency. This is as that design gets developed, things are foreseen. So there is some flexibility in the budget and in the bidding. So when this actually goes out to bid, you never know that those actual hard costs until we receive them from all the subcontractors. And so that $843,000 listed there is remaining in the budget to cover those unforeseen aspects of only design and bidding. The next item you see there is an owner contingency. That is for things that come up that hadn't been anticipated in the program. If there are extra amenities or owner-driven changes to the building, the site, or the program. That's what that owner contingency is dedicated to. And then the final one there is the construction contingency, and that is specific to items, unforeseen items that happen after construction has started. So as construction goes along, something comes up where there's some sort of surprise. That contingency is there to preserve some funds to be able to cover those unexpected occasions. So in all, we're still carrying over $2 million of contingency in this budget. If that money doesn't get spent, we have some choices. It can go back to the owner. It can be extra amenities. I don't know if there's more you want to say on that front, Will.
Excuse me, as it relates to the contingency. So with the design and estimating contingency, we did go in design development, we were at 5%. Now that we're getting closer to bidding and construction documents, we're down to 3%. So that's where you're seeing some of those items come down. But as Leslie mentioned, that's for being utilized for inflation and for estimating contingencies during bid day. We have a great bid day. As she mentioned, we can buy alternates, we can buy extra minis, or we can put it in the owner contingency or the construction contingency. So there is flexibility within that once we bid the project out and come to GMP.
Right, and you just mentioned those alternates. So the other thing you see here are those additive alternates. So the grand totals listed, those are the totals from those previous slides. And then the last thing you'll see here is those additive alternates. There's not much on the City Hall in terms of alternates because the City Hall has been trending lower. So that amount you're seeing there is, that's for the temporary facilities, but that's assumed to be coming from a different funding source from the general funds. It's there for reference only. The additive alternates on the police, there are a few there we've talked about before. Ideally, these are all things that we want to include in the project. They're definitely, the covered parking structure that's been in the design since the start here, but because the police station has been trending up in cost, we want to make sure that if we use up all these contingencies, we know how to stay within budget. So ideally, these things get included as we move through the process and have that contingency money available. That's when we start to add back those additive alternates. And that concludes my overall presentation on the budget. And we're both here and more than happy to address questions about either the budget or the design.
Can you explain the cost savings? For insurance/builder's risk?
So Rusty and Bruce were actually able to go out and get a quote. Because with builder's risk, it's changed over the last 3 years as it relates to wood structure with just risk, the cost and what you have to do. And we were able to solidify that cost and it came in below what we were estimating. So we all agreed. We didn't take all the money out of there to reach what we got quoted, but we left it within a range.
So these are getting closer to where we're likely to end up.
Correct.
And the combined contingencies, are these numbers represented in the individual budgets? Like the owner contingency, is that?
So the owner contingency is one of those last three items and the other soft costs.
And is this the same time period as the others?
In the owner contingency, I understand to encompass the duration of the project. So the design and bidding are focused on those initial design phases. The construction contingency is focused on the construction phase, but the owner contingency extends for the duration.
I guess I'm looking at the totals for owner contingency on the combined budgets, and it doesn't necessarily match up with the numbers under the combined contingency. So I'm just trying to figure out. Looking at owner's contingency specifically. 524 and 517. Center.
You're looking at from DD to CD. Are you looking at the first page?
Yes, I'm looking at the combined.
So that's where, if you're looking at the first page where it outlines the SD to DD to C. So that's the difference. Or you're seeing a 517 at DD phase. And now you're looking at 524 at the construction document estimate phase. That's how we get to 524 for.
That's
a lot of numbers going on left to right.
okay.
What's that?
With initials.
Yes.
How? I guess I kind of know the answer to this, but because the projects are at different timetables, that we're not able to use contingency money from one project to the other. Is that the case?
For police and city hall.
Yes.
We're treating it as you're seeing this as an overall budget, but yes, we would have it set on both sides, but you could utilize it as one pot of money for the owner contingency, because we do know what that dollar amount is. It's under one contract and one GMP, so
But the Cannon Beach Elementary is separate.
separate, yeah, they're just part of our.
And so where are those contingencies? The design estimating contingency in the combined budget?
So if you, so,
And
at the
Overall
building, they're in the building
construction.
construction, and then we have inflation broke out,
Okay, so
part of that 16 million.
part of the 16 million, okay.
That's why we wanted to add that last page where it shows you how the contingencies are broken out. Because essentially when we were brought on, we created an overall budget worksheet, and you have your city hall budget, the police budget, and then the overall summary breakdown. So we've been tracking everything within that. The ways talk about city hall being down and police up, then we're looking at that overall budget, and we're actually below. We were about $400,000 delta last time with the contingency. Now we're closer to 350. Still 2.3 million within contingencies within that overall budget.
Thank you.
They have other questions?
I'm glad you're staying within the budget. That's great, or even below a little bit.
Yes, that was very reassuring.
Yeah.
So Chief, do you have questions since this is something new?
I don't, Lieutenant Wilbur and Chief Skirmahorn have kept me up to speed, and then we talked earlier today,
Good.
just going over some of the figures here, no questions at this time.
But you're pleased with,
Yeah, I think, they've done a good job of designing and getting the things they need to make sure that the police department can function properly and have enough room to grow, and it'll be very nice.
anything else?
Not for me.
Okay, well, thank you very much for
having us.
for bringing down the cool. code.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have good of the order.
I did have some things, but Steve, I talked to Steve before, I've been sort of watching some of the. Well, I want to let everyone know that Daniel, our enforcement officer, is paying a lot of attention to that suspension that was on Gogona. He's watching it and he knows exactly what's going on there. And I sent him some photographs and today I sent him the photographs, and so can double check what's happening there. They are saying it's their family members who are using it over that month. That's why I took pictures of the license plates. And then, there was, you know, I drove by tonight. That tree, remember the tree with the big controversy, Mr. White had the tree, it was on the Nana.
Mhm.
And he had to cut down all those trees that were in a row on the nursing log. And we unanimously asked him to save that one tree. So I wanted to see what the tree looked like, the one that they're supposed to save, and it has a fence around it, but it's all dilapidated and falling over, so it's not really functional. And they have limbed that tree significantly. I mean, really, really chopped off limbs. Now, that may be something that the arborist recommended. I don't know.
They can take up to a
Yeah.
healthy percentage,
Right.
much more than you would think. would
Right,
be.
and so I don't know, I can't make that
That's-
judgment. So Steve told me he and Robert would drive by and take a look at it. It's really difficult for them, I mean, to to keep track of every tree that's coming up on every piece of construction property, so. But if we point something out to them, they seem to be very willing to take a look. So that's great. I mean, I'd love them to just see if what has been done there is really what was supposed to have been done. Or maybe Jeff Gearhart authorized the whole thing. And I'd like to just know that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Speaking of trees, has anybody checked lately on the tree on the north side where that house was being built and it was so close to the foundation of the house and it went back and forth as to whether
yeah,
we're gonna have a hearing or not on it?
right. I guess what Bruce had let us know is that it was the responsibility of the guy who's been messed over, which is so unfair, Mr. Sellers, to,
No, not that one, the one on the north side.
On
On the-
Ash,
oh, the large, yeah, they built right up against it.
yeah, it's very close.
It's
Okay.
really close.
I've walked.
It's ridiculous, but in theory, they've put cantilevers and posts and all pilings in that foundation to protect the roots of the tree. That's what the theory is. So if they have done that, I don't know how in the world we could check that or anybody could. But if they have done that, then the tree should survive. I don't know why you'd want a tree of that size within a foot of your house, but that's the decision they made. They wouldn't redesign, so, or make their house a tiny bit smaller. Now, under the new proposed tree code, we have addressed situations like that, I think in a really productive fashion, but without being draconian, so I think that the latest revision of the tree code should be up on the website fairly soon. After the meeting last time, we did a lot of work. I mean, an amazing amount, hours and hours of work. And took everything that was said to heart and made decisions based on what was said of where it was possible to make changes and where the changes would just gut the tree code. So we have worked really hard. So there should be a red line copy up to show the changes that are made in red on the,
Is that coming back to the council for approval or have we?
well, there's going to be another public hearing, and that will be on the 25th. It's the
That's
next,
a planning commission level. Planning commission.
yeah,
Yeah.
planning
Planning
commission will be another
Okay.
public hearing. Eventually it will come to council, but the public hearing is where all the input comes in. And so that people who are on the focus group can try and address people's concerns.
Okay.
So,
This Saturday from 10 till noon, we have a trail cleaning party again at 6th and Hemlock, and go back to the site that we worked on last month. So you're always welcome to attend. You guys like to come by?
even if we're pretty worthless at, I can't really.
And we'll
pull
show you
anything.
that.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a matter of
All help
fake
is
shoulder.
appreciated. All help is appreciated. Yeah.
I mean, is there any cutting and things you can do? Cause that I can do. Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, anything else?
I have a couple of things I
Okay.
wanted to say.
Okay.
was kind of disturbed to see this week, a staff member from the Cannon Beach Chamber of Commerce publicly share on social media a pretty inflammatory guest column in the Daily Astorian that claims that city officials, are seeking to skirt a civic principle with moving forward with the school project. And I don't know that.
A column in the Historian?
Yeah.
I mean, lots. I got lots, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently we're grasping wastrels of the land
Right.
for wanting to create a center for cultural and environmental learning using a repurposed development, our former school. So I did respond to that post on social media.
Yeah, I have, was that on Protect Cannon Beach?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll take a look.
Anyway, it didn't sit well for me, you know, number one, for the $600,000 a year we fund the chamber at, but this whole destination management thing, I'm not sure where we're missing the messaging here in destination management, because we hear that from the chamber that that's
Yeah.
what they do. And so I wanted to share some things, at least with you, from Travel Oregon's 10-year strategic vision that I found a little interesting. So,
So
well, we kind of,
I have a question first. You said, when you started out, you said a chamber employee.
yes.
What doesn't?
No,
That
I,
was shared on that article was
Oh,
shared on
shared.
social
Okay,
media.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
But you know, destinations around the world are facing this over tourism thing
Right.
right now. And actually, organizations are responding that with a real emphasis on promoting sustainable tourism. And I feel like that's kind of exactly what we're doing with NACUS. And all we hear is the, you know, fancy wedding facility and the, you know, luxury tourism facility. But I just wanted to share with you, and maybe lodging will take a look at this and see what Travel Oregon's vision is. But if I may, can I share?
I'd love to
Yeah,
hear it.
go ahead.
So these are from Travel Oregon's 10-year strategic vision plan. First of all, their vision, so their overall vision is Oregon is a welcoming destination where tourism drives economic prosperity, benefits the natural environment, and celebrates rich, diverse cultures. Sounds like what we're intending with NACUS. The mission: we inspire travel that uplifts Oregon communities, collaborating with stakeholders and partners to align as stewards of Oregon. We work to optimize economic opportunity, advance equity, respect the ecosystems, cultures, and places that make Oregon, Oregon. Again, feels very much aligned with what we're doing. This is our state's tourism organization. Values stewardship. We lead through a lens of destination stewardship to build resiliency for a regenerative future. Again, I think we're looking at doing. And their introduction says, a welcoming destination where tourism benefits the environment, celebrates cultural diversity, and drives economic prosperity in every corner of the state is the Oregon we envision. I mean, this goes on, but I don't know if I've made there are probably 10 more of these that support what we're doing with the tourism dollars. And this is from our state's tourism organization that this is the kind of focus that they see. It's their vision and their mission. So I hope that, I guess I hope some of these people who are pushing back on these things and exaggerating the uses would actually look at this for what it actually is, something that works for the sustainability of tourism, not just more tourism.
Well, you would think that the chamber would in particular.
Yes.
I mean, you know, that.
I mean, they keep talking about destination management, but they've virtually been somewhere between silent and complicit in pushing back on us moving forward with this project. So yes, I would think as our destination management organization, they would really see that we're totally aligning with what the industry is doing.
And on that idea, I just have a question for Bruce. I had heard that the it could be just a ridiculous rumor, but I had heard that the Christian Conference Center was planning to drop the Christian from the conference center and just make it a conference center that was available to anybody or any kind of a meeting or, you know, convention in their facility. Had you heard anything about that?
But not.
Okay, I wonder if we can
Did you
find
hear
out.
it from a good source?
Yeah, I did. So that's why I was concerned. So, yeah, I had heard it from a very good source. So I'd like to know. That'd be something to look into, because that seems to be, the timing of it seems very odd to me. Like if it's true, then the timing is sort of geared to try and go into competition of some weird sort. Or which would be very strange that they would want to do that. I don't get that. So if you could find that out, Bruce, that would be so good. It'd be
Find out what I can.
just a crazy rumor, maybe.
Yeah,
It was a good source, so,
find out what I can.
okay, good. That's great. It's just another wrinkle. And the thing with Beth Holland's thing tonight was that was really good news.
Yeah, that's very.
I was hoping that, and you know, that they would take over North Coast Land Conservancy. I wanted that. And then I knew that they weren't going to for a while because they had some other business that had been messed up for them and weren't really excited about doing it. But then evidently they've had to change of heart. So I think that's great. Hope it works out.
I already emailed John, I forwarded him the letter and just asked what revisions need to be made and let him know that we would resubmit.
Yeah.
Brandon, did you?
Yes, in the,
There's more to read, but I think you've got the gist.
Oh,
Didn't get the gist.
We got the
Yeah,
gist.
it's very disappointing.
No.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were done.
No,
I just, yeah, no.
Thank you for sharing.
And I just don't know how, you know, what we can do with that to, because obviously things have been so twisted about what we're doing there, purposely twisted, when what we're doing is really aligning, which I think everyone interested in livability and our environment would be supporting what we're doing with those tourism dollars.
You would think. Yeah, I don't know how you can change. If people have a mindset that is so negative and they don't care whether they're really relating the facts or not. You know, I mean, that's what's happening, nationally as well. I mean, I don't know what you can do to, we just keep messaging, but, yeah.
Well, maybe some of the people involved will take a look at Travel Oregon's 10-year strategic vision.
I hope.
Understand
That'd be
they're
nice.
aligning
Yeah, good
with
luck with
what
that.
they're talking about.
Yeah, like I agree with Nancy, good luck with that.
Thank you for sharing it with us. That was,
If nothing else, for you to get it, that
Yeah,
I think
We got
that
it.
we're doing the right thing.
we
yeah.
know that.
And I don't think any of us is worried about that.
Okay, Brandon.
yes, and last Friday's LOC newsletter, there was a section in there about a lodging tax survey. It's due on August 2nd. And I think that's something definitely that the city should participate in. There's a long 30 some odd cities have already participated in it, but with the goal being that they'd like to use that information to lobby for changes in the way the lodging tax is spent, which is something that we have always advocated for.
Yeah.
for that reason alone, I think it's important that we participate in that survey. Bruce, do you find any problem with being able to respond by the second?
So can all the city councilors respond,
It's for the city to do.
Right.
the city itself? Okay.
Yes.
So who actually would be responsible for responding? Would that be Bruce?
Yeah.
Well, somebody's in the city's capacity to be able to do that. Yes.
Probably Tim would be the leader on
So you'll make,
it. He would probably be the leader on it.
so you'll make sure that gets done. Good.
There's a contact person from the bulletin and on this particular item. Do you need that forwarded, Jen? Do you guys get the bulletin?
Yep, I just pulled it up and I have it right here. LOC Lodging Tax Survey due August 2nd. We'll work with finance to make sure we get it submitted.
And the contact is Lindsay Tennis, if I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that name right, TENES. And they're a lobbyist. And they provide a contact.
I see it.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Bruce.
Sure.
And is there a housing meeting next?
Thank you.
Wednesday?
That was my other,
Okay.
the 24th,
Okay,
from 1 to 3
okay.
at Bob Chisholm Communities Building or on Zoom.
The 24th?
24,
Yeah, let's do the 24th. What, 1 to 3?
yes.
I'm just wondering, with all of the things that Gary just read, it sounds to me like we are right in line for future grants from tourism, Oregon Tourism. I mean, since we meet, we're so aligned with their vision that seems to me we're definitely in line for some grants.
Grants, I also think that what we're doing could really be a model of what Travel Oregon is talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be an example of what they're doing, of what they want to see happen,
Right.
you know, with the culture side and the environment side. But yes, grants, and we did apply for the one, but we were too early on
Yeah.
it. But the next biennial, I hope that we will look at that again.
Yeah, and all that, the tribal input that
Yeah.
you know, is happening. I mean, that just seems, I don't know, it does seem to align.
Okay, anything else? Rob, you got any good of the orders?
I do not. It's nice to be back down here after spending a weekend in Central Oregon where it was hot. It's nice to be back down here. Even though today was warm.
Wasn't it? 77 over here. That was pretty.
Not if you were sitting at the information desk in the wind tunnel
Oh,
going up Gower.
Dressed in your parka.
I wish I had had my coat with me, I'll tell you, I was freezing.
Okay, anything else?
Just a quick reminder, there is no council meeting next week. So
But we haven't.
Time, Jen.
so we do have one on the 30th.
30th.
So
We have the
that
plan-
will come out
the
next week.
planning commission meeting. next week.
Planning Commission, housing,
Yeah.
And that's really,
housing meeting. Yeah, yeah.
And
We'll stay busy, Jen, we
Oh,
promise.
yes, but you're not gonna be here Tuesday.
Yeah.
the housing focus group
Yeah.
working meeting
that's right.
Oh,
this Thursday.
This Thursday, right?
Is that correct?
3.
3.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we'll make sure we stay busy, out of trouble. Okay, nothing else? The meeting's